Today in this video, we're going to do part 4 of how to get a mortgage in 2025 for my first-time home buyers. Today, we're talking about the property, the actual property you want to buy. Everything from the appraisal to the taxes to the insurance. Check it out. Hi, I'm Rhonda Burgess, and I'm a real estate broker and mortgage underwriter here in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and my firm is Southern Living Realty Partners. All right, we're going to keep it rolling. I thought about changing up the order of this one, but I want it right here. Next, we're talking about how to get a mortgage in 2025. A lot about the mortgage comes down to we've gone over your credit, your income, your debt to income ratio, but now we're going to talk about the actual property itself because it is important. First of all, don't go pick no weird property that you know you're going to have issues with, okay? In my opinion, don't buy a special type of property. Don't look at a berm house that's built into a mountain, that's built into a hill. You may not even have no windows on the backside because it's built into a mountain. Don't do a yurt. These round, circular houses. Don't do nothing freaky weird. Don't buy no freaky weird houses. Don't buy a special property. Don't try to do a barn dominium. Don't try. Those houses, I'm not saying that you can't buy them, but those are normally a cash purchase. Because even conventional loans will get weird when you bring a weird property. They're going to be like, what? And again, remember, it's the end investor. It's the end investor. The people who are actually loaning you their money. They are looking at, can I sell this? If this person don't pay this mortgage and I have to foreclose on them, I got to put them out. And then I got to worry about cleaning it up and putting it back on the market and getting me a seller, give me a new buyer right quick. How long is it going to take? It's going to take you. It may take you forever. It may take you to never on a special property. Okay. So do not, in my opinion, unless you got cash money, don't get into these special properties. Don't get into nothing freaky, weird, unique, something that, no. You need to be looking at, especially if it's your first house. My first time buyers, please listen to this right here. This is your first house. Your first house. I didn't say it was your last house. I didn't say that. I said this is your first time. First time buyers, this is your first house. Most people stay in their first house 5 years. 5 years. So that tells you that within 5 years, normally you looking to buy another house. Because things happen. Maybe you get married, you get a divorce, you have kids, your kids leave and go to college, your kids move out. You need to move your mama in. You need to take care of somebody. You need to relocate across the country. You need to relocate to another state. You might need to move just to another city and the traffic just might be, might be killing you. You're going to need to move for some reason. You may have kids. You may need a bigger place. Your first house may be a townhouse, and then you want to get an actual single family home detached. It may be 900,000 reasons of why you're not going to stay in that house more than 5 years. But just know, on average, you're not going to be in there for longer than 5 years. If you're in there for 7, okay, cool. But listen, don't swing for the fences on the first one. You do not have to swing for the fences. Do not be over here trying to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses don't care about you, because when you can't pay that note and you get foreclosed on, them Joneses ain't going to care about you. They're going to be like, oh, that's too bad. Wow. And they're going to be over like this, secretly clapping for your downfall. What? You need to get you something that you can afford. This is what your first house needs to be. Whether it's a townhouse, a condo, a house, or whatever. Just get something that you can afford that's going to work for you in the present. Do not swing for the fences. You do not need a 5-6 bedroom house your first time out. I don't care. No, because there's too much stuff that can come up, especially on your first house. Because the water heater going to go out, the roof gonna need to be replaced, repaired. Some stuff gonna happen. Stuff happens with home ownership. Okay, just let you know that. So do not swing for the fences on your first house. So we're not gonna get nothing freaky weird. We're not gonna do all that. We're gonna get a house or townhouse or whatever. We're gonna get something that's standard. Okay, we'll worry about that other stuff later. So when you're trying to get a mortgage, this is another thing. It's about the appraisal. Once you get into a contract to buy a house, let's say you found this house and you want to buy it for $300. It's listed for $350. Y'all agree on $350, whatever. So it's going to be $350. The mortgage company is going to send an appraiser out there to look at this house and give them a value. Just remember this: the mortgage company is not going to lend you more than what the house is worth. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The mortgage company is not going to lend you more than what the house is worth. So don't think that you agreed on $350 and you want the mortgage company to give you $375 because you just want $25,000 worth of play money to fix it up or whatever. Not finna happen. Not even way back in the day, we used to do those FHA, those 203 loans where they would give you some. Dude, it was so hard to get those loans done. It was, you barely saw any get done. So again, the property got to appraise for at least the amount that you have agreed to buy it for. So just know that the appraiser is going to come out. He's going to assign a value. This is an appraiser. This is not a home inspection. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. The appraiser will be at the property about 15-20 minutes. The appraiser is going to measure the outside. They're just going to assign a value. They're going to walk around. They're going to look. They're not doing a home inspection. They are there. They work independently, but for the bank, for the lender, and they are there just to say how much this house is worth. If we had to turn around and resell it, if we had to sell it, if it was still on the market, how much is it worth? It's just like you don't want to buy, if the car is only worth $15,000, you don't want to pay $20,000. Okay, same difference with a house. So the appraiser is going to come out. If the house does not appraise, then you're going to have to do one or two things. You're either going to have to go back to the seller and y'all need to renegotiate a new price. You're going to have to bring the difference to the table if the seller is not willing to adjust the price and you really, really want this house. But that is the job of the appraiser. Okay. Now, in the last video, I talked about your debt to income ratio, and your debt to income is how it is your income compared to your monthly payment on the new house plus your debts. So that monthly payment is the principal and interest. That's how much you're paying on the interest of that loan. Principal and interest, PI. Now we're going to talk about the TI. We're going to talk about the taxes and the insurance. When you are looking at a house to buy, y'all need to look and see how much the taxes are. Because in some place, that tax will blow your DTI. The taxes may blow your DTI. And look at all the taxes. I'm talking about if you got county taxes, county property tax, city property tax. In some place, y'all got school tax. School tax is tied to the value of the property. You need to look and see how much the taxes are. And you're going to need to include that in your debt to income. Okay? But just know that if the taxes are too high, it may blow your DTI. This may not be the property for you. So this is another reason why you need to look at what you're buying and how much are the taxes. If you're buying in a real expensive district, and let's say them property taxes are $6,000 a year, you divide that by 12, that's $500 a month. Is that $500 a month going to work with your DTI? That's some things you need to look at. So how much are the taxes? And then let's go to the insurance, especially my Florida folks and the people who live anywhere on the Gulf Coast or anywhere that you've been experiencing a lot of natural disasters or natural or weather weather patterns that are affecting your property values or even your ability to get insurance. You need to look at that. Because if the insurance may blow your DTI. And not only for the people who are in weather or natural disaster areas or places that are affected by the weather or natural happenings like that. It's also, and I've talked about this before, it's two other things. How many claims has that house had? You need to pull the clue report. I'll have a link in the description. How many claims has that property had? Because if it's had a lot of claims, you may not be able to get insurance on it, or you may not be able to afford the insurance you can get on that property. So not only how many claims has the property had, how many claims have you had? Yeah, how many claims have you had? Because if you've had other property loss claims before, let's say maybe you had, listen, let me back up and say this one thing. First-time home buyers are people who have never bought a home or who have not owned a home in the past 3 years. So there are previous homeowners who are now considered first-time home buyers because they haven't owned a house in the past 3 years. So let's say when you had this house 10 years ago, you had a fire in your kitchen. You had somebody that came over and slipped and fell in the driveway. Lightning struck your house. All kind of things. Maybe you had 2, 3, 4 claims. Now, I'm not saying it was your fault. I'm just saying you had 2, 3, 4 claims. That can affect you too. You may not be able to get any decently priced homeowners insurance. Just like if you've had DUIs and tickets and everything, they tell you got to get that SR22 or whatever that is, for your to get your car insurance. It's the same thing with homeowners insurance. If you've had a lot of claims or if the property's had a lot of claims, you're going to have an issue. And it may be that you may not be able to get standard insurance. You may have to get some of this high cost insurance. Then you need to see, how does that play into your debt to income? How does it play in? So what I suggest you do is when you, if you've done everything, you did the credit, you did the income, your debt to income is right. You out here looking at properties, you see one you like. Let's say you go to an open house that Sunday, you look at it, you like it. What you need to do is then go back and look and see how much are the property taxes on that. Look it up in the county. Look it up in the tax records of that county, of that city, of that borough, of that whatever. Okay? Look and see how much the property taxes are. Divide that by 12. Divide that yearly amount by 12 and see and plug that into your DTI. Are you still okay? Because see, you may have been estimating on your DTI that that the taxes was only going to be $200 a month. All right, $2,400 a year. But the house that you find or that neighborhood that you find that you like, everything's over there running $3,600 a year or higher. That's $300 a month. Do you have room in your DTI for that other $100? Or that other $200? Or that other $300? Still staying on the property. Does that property need flood insurance? Because if you're buying a property that's in a 100-year floodplain, listen, the mortgage company doesn't care. If that bad boy flooded 98 years ago and it hasn't flooded since, it's still in that 100-year floodplain and it's saying it requires flood insurance, you need to find out how much are the current people paying for flood insurance, because most of the time the real estate agent will list if there is a flood insurance policy required for that property and how much the other people were paying, because you're going to need to know the elevation, how high is it sitting, and you're going to need to know a whole lot. So if it needs flood insurance, you need to get a price on flood insurance before you even go further. So there's your just regular homeowners insurance, and then you got your flood insurance if you need flood insurance. Are you high risk? Meaning you've had other property claims. So the second thing I would do, once you look at how much the taxes is and everything, I would call up my insurance person who I already have my renter's insurance, my car insurance, my life insurance, whatever insurance you have. I would call them up and ask them if they do property property insurance, property and casualty insurance, and ask them for a quote, because it may be too expensive. It may blow your DTI. There's a whole lot of things that go into determining the right property for you, and the right property that you can get a mortgage on and you can actually close on. See, you can look at property all day. You can look at property all day and you can wish and do everything. But have you done the research to make sure that this is something that you can actually do? Because if you're looking at just the price and you're like, okay, I can do this in my budget, but you guesstimating too low on the taxes or the insurance, it's not going to work anyway. This is another instance of swinging for the fences. This may not be the property for you. You may need to get something in a totally different neighborhood. If this neighborhood, you're going to have flood insurance. If this house has had multiple claims, this may not be the house for you. I'm not saying that you can't buy a house. I'm just saying this may not be the right house for you. So you got to look at the property. Is it going to appraise? How much are the taxes per year? Is there an upcoming assessment on that property? Let me touch that right quick. A lot of times when you buy into a condo, townhouse association, or several HOAs, they may have set out an assessment to say for the next 2 years, everybody needs to pay an extra $200 because we want to get street lights installed at the front of the subdivision. We want to get new roof put on the condos. We want to add some amenities, or we just need to, repair some things. We want to get the parking lots paved, some stuff like that. You need to see, is there already an assessment that's been set out there? Meaning, anybody who buys into this subdivision, this complex, whatever, just know that your HOA fees are going to be X amount higher for the next, how many ever months, years, whatever, to pay for these improvements. You need to include that. That's where that property may not work for you, because you don't either like if the homeowners association dues right now are $200, but starting January 2025 and going forward, they're going to be $400. You need to know that, because that directly affects your DTI, and that may not be the property for you. So again, look at the appraisal amount, look at any assessments, if there are assessments, and the seller should disclose any assessments or anything like that. Read those documents, read those HOA documents, read those seller's disclosures, and look at your taxes and look at your insurance for that property, because it may not be the one for you. Thank you. Please check out the previous videos if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the fifth one coming up in this series. Thank you. And as always, have a blessed day.